Good morning, Missy. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
I am so good. So I'm glad that you came in today so that we can talk about some things of our last few meetings that we had. How are things going with little Eden?
Still the same. She still has the same behaviors. She really doesn't want to leave Grandma's house
No.
ever. I don't think she likes me half the time. But
Okay.
then some days, like she's in preschool and she doesn't even like to go to preschool. It's a struggle sometimes to get her out the door to go to preschool. But she really has difficulties, following directions and definitely leaving Grandma's house. Transitions are harder for her.
Okay. Well, today we're here to talk about some of those things. We're here to review your assessment findings and all of the information that we've gathered over the last few weeks. We will take it step by step. We will talk about the intake, the goals that you shared in the interview. We will discuss a little bit of the observation that I've seen and your assessment scores, that those questionnaires that I gave you to do with all those questions on, and we'll just discuss on how things are going. And are these, obviously the problems are still going on with the
Yes.
transitions and not following the rules. So these are the things that we're going to touch base on today. So do you have any other questions, or is there anything more that we will need to discuss today? Okay, so we did the initial intake and we did the interview, and you spoke to me about her having difficulty with following directions and transitions. And I think the transitions are the biggest issue, especially like getting up in the morning and getting out the door, and then whenever you're at Grandma's house, it's a huge deal for her to leave Grandma's house. So are these the issues that are issues? So, okay, so from your questionnaires that you completed for me, the first one that you did was the strength and difficulty questionnaire, and the strength and difficulty measures two different things. It measures the difficulty that the child might be just having some difficulties with certain things, and then the total impact score, which is, what impact does it have on your family and on her behavior and just the whole thing. So in your scores, your total impact score, I'm not at all worried because your impact score was 0.
Oh.
From what I've observed, you are a pretty calm person, like with her, you're quiet, but then the difficulties, it was a 10, and the cutoff for the difficulty is 17. So you're under, but I would like to see that number just go a little bit further down so there's not a lot of the difficulties that, that is being displayed. So
is 10 a horrible number?
No, it's not a horrible number. It's not a horrible number. Like I said, the clinical cutoff is 17, and she scored a 10. So it's well below the clinical cutoff. So, but I would like to see that score go down a little bit over the weeks that we meet. So then the second assessment that we have done was the parenting scale. And the parenting scale measures 3 things. Laxness. Do you understand what laxness is?
That's what I get into easily.
Absolutely. I think a lot of mothers have that issue. Overreactivity is also another one that the parenting scale measures, and hostility. So your scores, the clinical cutoff for laxness is a 3.6, and you scored a 3.8. So you're right. It is a little bit over what it should be, but I think that through the next few weeks as we work on the Triple P parenting strategies, that will probably come down. Your overreactivity, the clinical cutoff is a 4, and you scored a 4.2, so you're a little over the top there. And sometimes, you're a single mom, you have this little girl, there's a lot of stuff going on sometimes, so that's understandable. And then the hostility, the clinical cutoff is a 2.4, you scored a 2.2, so you're just under. So we're going to try to help you with getting those scores down so that you don't have a lot of that stress and a lot of stuff that's going on. So we went through the assessments, we talked about the behaviors that she is dealing with, we reviewed the questionnaires. Do you have anything else that you're struggling with? I know that based on what I have seen and the assessments, the observation, and the monitoring forms that you showed me, and you're doing very well on those.
Thank you.
You're using that behavior diary, and that's a really good one, and also the tally sheet. That's just kind of a quick, simple thing to keep track of the behaviors. So through all of that and everything that you have shared with me in the assessments, do you agree with that you're high on some of these?
Yeah, I find myself that being a single parent, that I tend to give in a lot to her. And sometimes it's not just because, I just want to give it to her. Sometimes it's because I'm just too tired and I want the problem to end. So I just give in to her and then she just does her thing.
Okay. Well, tell me about the transition with Grandma.
She never wants to leave Grandma's house.
Okay.
Ever.
Okay.
So I need help with that.
Okay.
And sometimes getting her out the door to go to school in the morning is also a problem.
Okay.
So that definitely needs some work on too.
Okay, so we can agree that those are issues that you need to deal with, and that that we went over today we went over the assessment findings, the information that I collected. We talked about, and we're both in agreement that her behaviors are not following the rules, and huge transitions, especially leaving Grandma's.
Right.
We summarized with the assessments. We talked about her intake, and these are just ongoing issues that you are dealing with Eden. And so is there anything else that you need to talk about? So I am hoping that we can agree that Triple P is something that might help you over the next 10 weeks or 8 weeks that we have together. We're going to be discussing a lot of things, and I'll be introducing you to a lot of tools, new tools that might be very helpful for you in helping your assessment scores go down, and help the stress level go down, and also help Eden with following, because you guys do have a really good relationship from my observation. You do get down to her level, you give her eye contact. She loves you, I can tell. She's such a sweet little princess child. So is there anything else that we can go over? And do you agree that Triple P is something that will help you in the future?
Yes.